The red dust of Mars floated gently in the air. The colony was quiet that day, except for the low hum of machines and the soft sound of air filters working hard. Liam, a 16-year-old boy with messy hair and curious eyes, walked through the empty hallway of the Mars base. He liked to explore, especially the old sections where no one went anymore. His father worked as a maintenance officer, always busy with wires and tools. Liam had learned how to stay out of sight, how to move quietly, and how to avoid getting caught where he shouldn't be. In his pocket, Liam carried a small silver wrapper. Inside it was the last chocolate bar he had brought from Earth. It was his favorite kind, and he had saved it for something special, but he didn't know what special meant anymore. Life on Mars was cold, dry, and lonely. As he turned the corner into a quiet service tunnel, something moved. Liam froze. There, crouched beside an old air vent, was a girl. She looked no older than him, but she wasn't human. Her skin had a soft silver-blue glow. Her eyes were large and dark like space itself. She wore torn clothes, her hair tangled and full of dust. She looked weak, almost shaking, like she hadn't eaten in days. Liam stared at her, not sure if he should run or speak. She didn't move. She just looked at him with sad, tired eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. She didn't answer. Maybe she didn't understand English. Maybe she was too scared. Liam slowly reached into his pocket, pulled out the chocolate bar, and showed it to her. He unwrapped it halfway and broke off a piece. Then, carefully, he placed it on the floor and slid it toward her. The girl didn't move at first. Then, slowly, she crawled forward and picked it up. She sniffed it, took a small bite, and her eyes widened. She looked at Liam again, this time not with fear, but with something else, gratitude, maybe. She finished the piece and looked at the rest of the bar in his hand. Liam smiled and placed the whole thing on the floor. "You can have it," he said. "It's the last one I got." She took it gently, like it was something holy, and ate it slowly. Then, still silent, she touched her fingers to her chest, then pointed at Liam. A soft light appeared around her hand, just for a second. Before Liam could ask anything, she stood up and ran into the dark vent tunnel, disappearing from sight. Liam stood there, confused and a little shaken. Who was she? Why was she hiding here? And why did her touch feel like a warm spark in the air? That night, as he lay in bed, Liam kept thinking about her. He stared at the ceiling, remembering her eyes. He reached out for his blanket and saw something on his palm. It was a small glowing mark, faint, like moonlight, but clearly there. The same pattern he had seen on the girl's glowing hand. It pulsed softly, like it was alive. He rubbed it, tried washing it, but it didn't go away. His heart beat faster. What did this mean? Was he in danger? Had she done something to him? Just then, the lights in the base flickered. The room shook slightly, and an alarm started beeping in the distance. Liam jumped out of bed and looked outside the window. Red warning lights flashed across the colony. Security drones flew toward the outer walls. He could hear people shouting on the radio. "Unknown energy surge detected," someone said. "Lockdown initiated." Another voice replied. Liam looked at his hand again, the glowing mark pulsing in time with the alarm. His eyes widened. This couldn't be a coincidence. She had something to do with this. And now so did he. He had only shared a piece of chocolate, but maybe that small act had just changed his life forever. Maybe it had started something much bigger than he could imagine. Asterisk, it started in a dream. Liam stood alone on a black surface that stretched forever. Above him was no sky, no stars, just darkness. In front of him stood the alien girl, glowing softly, her eyes calm and sad. She lifted her hand, showing him the same mark that now glowed on his palm. Suddenly, hundreds of shapes rose behind her, tall, silver, and faceless. They moved without sound, but their eyes lit up like fire. The girl turned to Liam and whispered, "They're coming." Liam gasped and woke up, heart racing, skin damp. With sweat, he looked at his palm. The glowing mark was still there, brighter now, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. The dream felt too real, like it wasn't a dream at all. He climbed out of bed and looked outside. The Mars colony was strangely quiet this morning. No alarms, no voices, just cold silence. But the air felt heavier, like something was watching. Liam stepped into the hallway, careful not to wake his father. He took the maintenance pass and slipped. Into the lower decks, his mind replayed everything from the day before, the alien girl, the chocolate, her silence, and then the mark. What had she done to him, or what had she given him? He reached the old vent tunnel where he had first seen her. It was empty, but something was different. The wall nearby had a new mark on it, the same shape that glowed on his palm. He touched it, the wall hummed, and suddenly a panel opened. Revealing a narrow path downward, Liam hesitated, but curiosity pulled him forward. The tunnel led him deep into the underbelly of the colony. He had never seen this part before. Old, abandoned, wires hanging loose, lights flickering. Then he saw her again, the alien girl, sitting beside an old machine, her eyes closed, as if in pain. She opened them slowly as Liam stepped closer. The mark on her hand glowed in response to his. She still didn't speak, but this time something strange happened. Liam felt her thoughts enter his mind, soft images, memories like a dream. He saw towers floating in the sky, a planet made of crystal, and a royal throne. He saw fire raining from above, warships breaking through clouds, her people fleeing. Then he saw Earth, cold hands making deals with alien generals, trading lives for weapons. And then he saw her, escaping, running, hiding, until she met him. Liam stepped back, breath shaking. "You're not just some poor refugee," he said. "You're important." She touched his hand, and another memory flashed. A giant black machine buried under red sand, ancient symbols glowing, a voice calling out, "One human, one bond, one key." Before Liam could ask anything, a loud alarm rang through the base. "Attention," said the voice over the speakers. "Unauthorized energy signal detected in Sector 9. All units report." The girl's eyes widened in fear. She pointed at Liam's badge, his maintenance pass. It was still active, still traceable. He had led them here. Without a word, she grabbed his hand and pulled him into the shadows. They ran through tight corridors, past broken pipes and flickering lights. Behind them, footsteps echoed, metal boots on metal floor. A voice shouted, "Seal all exits. Target is moving toward the power grid." Liam's heart pounded. They turned a corner and stopped in front of a wall. No door, no vent, but the girl placed her hand on the surface, and it opened. Inside was a small chamber, filled with soft light and old alien tech. She pressed a button, and the door vanished. They were hidden for now. Liam leaned against the wall, trying to catch his breath. "What's happening?" he asked. "What do they want from you?" The girl closed her eyes and shared one last vision, a massive warship hanging in space. Earth's leaders shaking hands with armored creatures, and a file labeled, "Project Eclipse, Human DNA Required." Liam understood. They weren't just hunting her, they were using her. And others like her. And now, they wanted him too, because of the mark, because of what she gave him. Liam looked at her and nodded. "Okay," he said. "I'm with you now." The girl looked at him with soft eyes. For the first time she smiled. Outside, security bots scanned the halls, unaware of what they were missing. But the storm had already begun, and Liam had just taken his first real step into a war no one knew existed. It began with a story, not told by words, but by light. In the hidden chamber beneath the Mars colony, Alira, the alien girl, stood in front of an ancient device. She pressed her hand against its surface, and the room filled with soft blue beams. Liam stood beside her, watching as the lights shaped a floating city in the air. It was beautiful and strange, unlike anything human eyes had ever built. Then the city burned. The light shifted, showing ships crashing into towers, fire swallowing the sky. Alira turned to Liam, and her voice echoed not through air, but directly in his thoughts. "My name is Alira Velfaring, heir of the Moran people. Liam's breath caught. She wasn't just some lost refugee hiding in the shadows. She was royalty. The vision changed again. Now it showed men in Earth uniforms, generals and scientists, shaking hands with alien leaders. Behind them, cages full of glowing children. All with markings like Alira's. Liam clenched his fists. "What are they doing?" he whispered. Alira replied with pain in her eyes. "They made a deal, technology in exchange for us." Liam stepped back, shocked. He thought his people were building peace, not prisons. But here it was, in front of him, proof that Earth's leaders had betrayed their own soul. Alira pointed to Liam's hand. The mark now glowed brighter than ever. "You're bonded to me now," she said through thoughts. "You gave me your last food, a gift in my culture, the symbol of trust. You are now my chosen." Liam tried to process it all. He had shared a chocolate bar, not knowing it would tie into an alien princess on the run. But deep inside, he didn't regret it. Something about her eyes, her silence, her bravery, it felt right. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the base above them. Alira's eyes widened. "They found us," Liam said. The walls around them began to vibrate, dust falling from the ceiling. Alira touched a crystal on the control panel, and the floor beneath them opened. They slid down a smooth tunnel into another chamber filled with glowing mirrors. Liam looked into one, and to his shock, saw his father locked in a holding cell, bruised but alive. "They took him," Liam whispered. Alira nodded slowly. "They're using him," she said, "to lure you out." Rage filled Liam's chest. "They want me because of the mark," he said. Alira confirmed it. "They need a human with the royal bond. The ancient ship hidden beneath the Mars sands will only respond to one." Liam's eyes widened. "What ship?" Alira placed her hand on the mirror, and a new image formed. A massive alien spacecraft buried deep beneath the Martian surface, wrapped in energy fields. It pulsed with the same glow as their marks. "That ship," she said, "was once the heart of our rebellion. With it, we can fight back." But time was running out. The enemy was closing in. Earth's leaders had sent their top agents enhanced with alien tech, deadly and fast. Liam and Alira had only two choices: run and hide forever, or risk everything to awaken the ship and fight. Liam looked at her and nodded. "I won't let them hurt you," he said, "or my dad." Alira placed her hand gently over his heart. A warm light passed through his chest, and for a moment he felt her memories, her fear, her hope, her courage. "You are more than human now," she said. "You are chosen." They left the hidden chamber through an escape tunnel that led into the red desert beyond the colony. As they walked into the storm, Liam glanced back one last time at the home he might never return to. Then he turned forward, toward the unknown, toward the ship buried beneath the sands. His heart was no longer just his own. The royal fugitive walked beside him, and the war for truth had just begun. The Martian wind howled like a whisper from an angry god. Red sand danced across the desert in angry waves, biting at Liam's skin and stinging his eyes. He pulled the cloth tighter around his face and kept moving. Beside him, Alira walked calmly, her glowing eyes focused ahead, her long cloak flapping like a shadow behind her. Behind them, the Mars colony faded into the storm. There was no going back. They were fugitives now, hunted by the same people Liam once believed were heroes. He had never stepped this far outside the colony before. His boots sank in the loose red dust, his breath sharp in the thin air. But Alira didn't seem to struggle. She moved like she belonged here, like the desert obeyed her steps. After hours of walking, they reached the base of a jagged cliff. Alira raised her marked hand, and the rocks began to shift. A hidden door opened silently, revealing a staircase carved into the stone. Liam followed her down into the darkness. The air grew cooler, thicker, filled with a soft hum like something ancient breathing in the shadows. At the bottom of the stairs, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. Liam gasped. There, half buried in glowing sand, was a ship. It didn't look like anything humans had ever built. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, carved with symbols that moved slowly like rivers of light. "This is it," Alira whispered. "The heart of the old rebellion." Liam stepped closer, his mark glowing brightly now. Pulsing in time with the ship's core, the vessel responded to his. Presence lights flickered on. Doors opened like petals blooming in slow motion. It was waiting for him. "Why me?" Liam asked, his voice shaking. "I'm just a normal kid." "You're not," Alira replied. "You showed kindness when no one else did. You gave without expecting anything. The ship recognizes the bond between us," Liam touched the edge of the ship, and a jolt of energy surged through his body. Suddenly, his mind filled with visions, memories not his own. He saw soldiers rising from stardust, planets screaming in silence, codes and blueprints rushing like waterfalls. Through his mind, he stumbled back, breathing hard. What was that? "Knowledge," Alira said. "The ship is awakening." Just then, a deep boom echoed through the chamber. The cliff above shook, dust falling from the ceiling. They had been found. A squad of black-armored soldiers dropped from a tunnel above, their boots slamming against the metal floor, laser rifles aimed, visors glowing red. Liam and Alira were surrounded. One of the soldiers stepped forward, his voice cold through his helmet. "By order of Earth Central Command, hand over the alien fugitive and surrender the bonded human." Liam clenched his fists. "You're not taking her. You have no choice," the soldier replied. But then, the ship responded. A bright wall of energy burst from its side, knocking the soldiers back, disabling their weapons. A voice deep, ancient, and echoing in Liam's head spoke. "Pilot recognized. Royal bond confirmed. Defensive systems activated." Alira pulled Liam into the ship, the doors closing behind them with a low hum. Inside, the ship was alive, walls glowing, air humming with power. Seats shaped themselves around their bodies, screens lit up with symbols. Liam sat at the center, hands shaking. "What do I do?" "Just feel," Alira said softly, placing her hand over his. "Let it know you're ready." He closed his eyes, and the ship lifted, sand swirling beneath it. The ceiling split open above them as the vessel rose into the air, breaking through rock and stone like a phoenix from ashes. Outside, the soldiers stared in awe as the ship burst into the sky. From above, Liam could see the entire colony, a tiny speck on a vast red world. But it didn't feel like home anymore. Home was broken, lies hidden beneath shiny uniforms, peace built on silent pain. Alira looked at him. "This is only the beginning," she said. "They'll come after us with everything." "Then let them," Liam said. "We'll show them what happens when they pick the wrong person to betray." The ship roared toward the horizon, disappearing into the Martian sky. Behind them, war was brewing. Ahead of them, truth waited, buried in starlight and silence. The escape had begun, but the real fight was just starting. It didn't fly like any human ship. It didn't make noise, or shake, or roar. It glided like a dream floating through air, like the stars had moved aside to make space for something sacred. Liam sat at the center of the alien ship, his hands trembling, his heart thudding in his chest. The seat wrapped around him like water. Warm and alive, Alira stood beside him, her eyes closed, her breathing slow. They weren't flying the ship was flying them. Outside, the Martian sky faded into darkness, and the stars opened up like 1,000 eyes. The screen before them shimmered, showing systems Liam couldn't name, zones locked, memories sealed, weapons sleeping. The ship was powerful, ancient, and broken. It had been waiting for someone to awaken it, not with strength, but with kindness. It had been waiting for Liam. He reached toward the glowing console, unsure what to touch. But the ship responded before his fingers even made contact. A deep voice echoed softly in the chamber, initiating memory bridge. Suddenly the walls turned to glass, and Liam was no longer inside the ship. He stood in a garden, floating among stars. Alien children ran between trees made of light, and the air smelled like sweet wind. At the center sat a tall woman with silver eyes, Elira's mother, the lost queen. Her voice echoed through the memory. "We built this ship not to destroy, but to protect. Its core will awaken only when bonded with pure intent." Liam watched as the memory twisted. The garden turned into fire. The sky cracked open. Ships fell from above like knives. Elira, still a child, was pulled away by guards, her face full of fear. That's when the ship was sealed, buried, waiting for her return. The vision ended, and Liam was back in the seat, shaking. He looked at Elira, who had tears in her eyes. She had lived all of it. The fall, the fear, the loneliness, all of it, alone. "This ship is part of your blood," Liam said quietly. Elira nodded. "But it listens to you," she whispered back. "It trusts you." Just then, the screens turned red. A warning pulsed, sharp and loud. "Tracking signal detected. Unknown ship approaching." Liam stared in shock. How did they find us so fast? Elira moved quickly, pressing her hands to the panel. A small hologram appeared, showing a Black Earth warship racing toward them. "They planted a tracer on your clothes," she said. "They're not letting us go." Liam felt panic rise in his chest. "We can't outrun them." "No," Elira said, "but we can wake the ancient." She ran her hand along the side of the ship, whispering words in her native tongue. Symbols lit up across the walls, gold, blue, and white. The ship vibrated, deeper than sound, like it was remembering who it was. A burst of light erupted around them, and Liam felt it again, that surge of memories. The ship was showing him how to command it, not with buttons, not with voice, but with emotion. He had to feel it. Protection, courage, belief. Liam closed his eyes. He thought of his father locked in a cold cell. He thought of Elira, running her whole life. He thought of every lie they had told him about peace, safety, and honor. He reached out with his heart, and the ship responded. Systems awakening, weapons online, shields restored. The ship surged forward, moving faster than thought. The enemy warship fired, but the beams bent around them like wind around a stone. Elira pointed ahead. "There," she said. "A canyon, fly low." Liam didn't steer with his hands. The ship moved with his will, dancing through the cliffs with speed and grace no human ship could match. The enemy kept firing but missed every time. Then Liam saw a glowing crystal tower rising from the canyon floor. "What is that?" he asked. "A key," Elira said, "to the rest of the ship's memory. If we connect, we unlock the final layer." The warship closed in, louder, faster, angrier. Liam had seconds. He focused, heart steady, and the ship dove straight for the tower. A final beam shot out behind them, nearly striking their engines. But the ship touched the crystal, and everything went silent. A wave of energy exploded outward. The warship froze in place, disabled, hovering uselessly in the air inside the ship. The lights turned soft and calm. New sections opened. New screens lit up. The ship was whole again. Elira looked at Liam with awe. "You're not just the chosen," she said. "You're the catalyst." Liam blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said with a smile, "you're going to lead a war no one sees coming." It began with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that comes before lightning strikes. Liam stood in the ship's heart chamber, watching dozens of glowing star maps spin around him. Each one showed danger, movement, threats in every direction. The Earth fleet was mobilizing, across Mars, across the moons, across the black sky above. They were preparing for war not against aliens, but against one of their own, against him. Liam hadn't slept in days. His thoughts were full of fire memories from the ship, messages from intercepted Earth broadcasts, and his father's face trapped behind glass. He was tired, but not weak. He was done running. Elira walked into the chamber, her cloak now covered in ancient armor. Her eyes glowed like twin stars, but her face was hard, ready. "We found them," she said. "They're holding your father in Orbital Station 9. Liam looked at the map. "High security," he muttered. surrounded by drones, 2 patrol fleets, and cloaked satellites. Alira stepped beside him and placed her hand over his. "We can't sneak in," she said. "But we don't have to." He looked at her, confused. She smiled slightly. "You awakened the ship," she whispered. "Now awaken the galaxy." The ship responded instantly, as if it had been waiting. Beams of light shot from the floor, forming holograms of faces alien refugees from every corner of the colonies. Some had hidden for years, some had lost homes. Some had lost everything. All of them answered one signal. Liam stood tall, facing them all. He took a deep breath and spoke. "I'm not a commander," he said. "I'm just a boy who gave away a chocolate bar." But they declared war. On kindness. They lied to us, used us, sold your people like parts in a machine. I can't promise we'll win. But I can promise we won't stay silent anymore. There was a pause, then one by one, the alien leaders nodded. A green-skinned general raised his weapon. "For the fallen," he said. "For the forgotten." The alliance was formed. Ships hidden for decades lit up across Mars and beyond. Old codes were activated, ancient tech awoke. And across the system, people began to rise. It was no longer just about Alira or the past, it was about truth, about freedom, about taking back the future. The ship led the fleet fast, silent, powerful. They moved like a storm across the stars. The Earth Command Center didn't see them coming. Not until the sky turned gold with light and war songs began to echo across channels. On board Station 9, Liam's father heard the noise, first distant thunder in the void. He looked up from his cold cell window and whispered, "That's my boy." The battle began with no warning. Drones tried to stop them, but the ship bent light, turned gravity against them. Patrol fleets opened fire, but their codes were already hacked. Their weapons jammed. Liam stood at the center of it all, heart steady, eyes glowing. He was connected to the ship now, not as a pilot, but as part of its memory. Every move was instinct, every command was emotion. He guided the fleet like a conductor with a symphony of stars. And Alira fought beside him, her hands creating shields of light, waves of force, whispers of power. Together, they cut through the enemy lines and reached the prison sector. Liam's father was moments from being moved, but the walls exploded outward as the ship appeared. Guards raised their weapons, but froze when they saw Liam step through the smoke. Behind him walked hundreds of aliens, free and fearless. Liam didn't shout. He simply raised his hand, and the guards dropped theirs, not out of fear, but because they saw something in his eyes. Hope. He ran to his father, broke the door open, and hugged him tight. "I knew you'd come," his father whispered. "I almost didn't," Liam said, smiling through tears. "But I had help." As they returned to the ship, alarms echoed again, but this time from Earth itself. The fleet was moving now, orders coming straight from the planet. Alira looked at Liam as they entered the main chamber. "They're scared," she said. "They should be." Liam replied. The war had just begun, but this time it was humanity that had to prove itself. And Liam, the boy with the last chocolate bar, had become its loudest voice. It ended where it all began, with quiet, not the silence of fear, or the stillness before war, but the calm that comes after the storm. The stars above Mars shimmered like they were watching. Below, the red planet no longer echoed with gunfire or alarms. No more lockdowns, no more shadows crawling through vents. The war was over. Liam stood at the edge of the landing deck, staring into the horizon. The ancient ship behind him pulsed with gentle light, no longer a weapon, but a guardian. He was no longer the same boy who had once shared his last chocolate bar. He was more, but not in power, not in title. He was more in purpose. Beside him stood Alira, her armor cracked, her cloak torn, but her eyes, her soul, they were whole again. She looked at the stars like someone who remembered their names for the first time in years. She was not running. Behind them, the colony gates opened. Humans and aliens stepped out together, slowly, uncertainly. but no one raised a weapon. The truth had been broadcast to every colony, every station, every screen across Earth's network. People saw the deals, the betrayal, the prisons, and they saw the boy, the girl, the ship. They saw the ones who fought for something better. Earth's high command tried to deny everything, but it was too late. Soldiers laid down their weapons. Scientists stepped forward. Whistleblowers spoke up. Change had already begun, and now the question remained, what would Liam and Alira do with this victory? Inside the ship, in the chamber where memory lived, a voice spoke again. Code reset available. Would you like to rewrite the system? Liam stared at the console, glowing softly under his fingers. He could feel its power, how it could shut down defense grids, unlock planetary AI, even overwrite Earth satellites. He could become the most powerful person in the system with a single thought. Alira placed her hand on his. You can choose to rule, she said gently, or choose to guide. Liam didn't answer right away. He thought of his father who now stood watching proudly from a distance. He thought of Alira's people, no longer fugitives but free. He thought of that first day, when he knelt in red dust and gave away his last piece of comfort to someone who had nothing. He smiled softly. No thrones, he said, no crowns, just new roots. He pressed the final command, and the system reset, not to erase, but to restore. Codes were rewritten to protect all species, not just one. Records of war were sealed away, and records of peace were born. The ship gave its final hum and went still. It had fulfilled its purpose. It had passed on its story. In the weeks that followed, Mars became more than a mining ground or military base. It became a new beginning, a shared colony, part Earth, part Miran, part everything else in between. Liam helped build the first peace school. Alira grew gardens where broken machines once rusted. Together, they planted trees with glowing leaves and blue roots, a symbol of unity. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Liam sat on the garden steps, unwrapping something shiny in his hand. It was a chocolate bar, the very same kind he once gave away. Alira sat beside him, watching the stars. He broke it in half, handed her a piece. This time, he said, you get the first bite. She smiled, her eyes soft. No, she said, this time we share it. They laughed, the stars watched, and the wind on Mars for the first time felt like peace. Not won by power, but by choice. The new code wasn't written in fire or blood or victory. It was written in kindness, in trust, in a small moment that changed everything. One boy, one girl, one chocolate bar. The galaxy would never forget.